This would be a car crash of a PR exercise, wouldn't it?
I think normally if you're bringing a book out, I've written one or two, I mean, your publishers want you to be out there letting the world know that this book exists, that you've written it and that it's jolly good. In this instance, I think the whole world already knows about this book. So, frankly, I would be surprised if Harry decided to cross the Atlantic to promote it because, A, we all know about it, B, he could give interviews in California. But also, I think the messaging would be extraordinary. You know, less than a year before, there he was saying he couldn't come to Britain because it was too dangerous, so he couldn't attend the memorial service, for example, of the Duke of Edinburgh. So I think it would look... I don't expect to see him coming over to launch it. I really don't.
It's interesting as well what's happening behind the scenes because, I mean, it's going to cast a shadow over the Christmas celebrations in Balmoral, isn't it, or wherever they do the Christmas celebrations, because the royal family must be really worried about what he's going to say and whether they can ever reconcile with him after it.
Well, clearly, it's at the moment it's the great unknown in sort of palace circles. I mean, we keep being told that it's you know, truth bombs are out there and that it's going to be all doom and gloom for the monarchy. But you know, we're journalists. We know that he doesn't have to, as it were, trash the brand. He doesn't have to use another phrase, to throw members of the family under a bus to make this a colossal bestseller. I mean, if you think about it, Harry just reminiscing about the day that the Princess of Wales took him to McDonald's for the first time, or whatever it might be. You know, those are big things. Those are things people are interested in reading. So I don't know that he's going to really let rip against the family. I think he'll certainly be very, very forceful against the media, against some of the officials, against the establishment, that sort of thing. But my hunch is that he's wise enough to hold back on demolishing the institution.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, we're talking of the institution. There's been some sort of constitutional reform which is certainly underway, isn't it? Which would actually remove Harry and Andrew from playing any sort of major role.
Yes, I wrote about this last week. That as things stand, we have a system of what are called councillors of state who stand in for the monarch when he or she goes abroad. And at the moment, the King, were he to go abroad, and he's head of the Commonwealth, he's going to start travelling early next year. He has to. He's got lots of places to go to. When that happens, you've got to have the machinery of government ready to go. And so you need the law currently stands that the 4 senior adults in line to the throne can stand in as councillors of state. Now, those are the Prince of Wales, Prince William, Prince Harry, Prince Andrew and Princess Beatrice. And the idea is to amend that law to allow others to be included on that list.
So that the King doesn't have to rely ever on Andrew or Harry?
Precisely. And that if you were to include, say, former councillors of state, because in the past you've had the Princess Royal, the Earl of Wessex had been councillors of state, that would then put those 2 in the mix. And you only ever need to have 2 at any one time. But you do need them. I mean, in 1974, there was a major crisis. Britain had coal strikes, the Queen was in Australia, and it was actually Princess Margaret and the Queen Mother who ended up having to sign off legislation to call a state of emergency and then to actually dissolve Parliament. So, I mean, you know, you never know what's going to happen. You have to be prepared. And so this is an effective way of effectively extending the number of people who could do that job so that you don't have to use Prince Andrew, Prince Harry, but without demoting them. I think no one wants to look spiteful and say, no, we're not having you anymore. It's just the pool of potential will be expanded.